this is my little fun fact that I got for this. Do you know, and this has quite a few levels to it, do you know why it's called the Super Bowl?
No. Go on.
Hazard a guess.
Why it's called Super Bowl?
Specifically that name, the Super Bowl. I mean, there's other things like the Rose Bowl and...
I was going to say, I don't know why they all have the bowls. Is that because of the stadium? Is it stadium?
Well, yeah, so... There's quite a bit to it. So it goes back to about 1902. So the college football game, the big college football game was called the Tournament East-West Football Game.
Okay.
And there was this quite famous stadium, and it was always called that. It was a Tournament East-West Football Game. Okay. And then there was this large stadium in Connecticut that opened called the Yale Bowl Stadium.
Oh, okay.
And that was the first large, like, bowl-shaped oval stadium in the United States. But that's the name of the stadium, not the competition. Now, you fast forward to like 1922, the East-West football game gets, well, they build a new stadium called the Rose Bowl Stadium.
Yeah.
And that's where they end up, and they base the Rose Bowl Stadium off the Yale Bowl Stadium.
Okay.
So they base like the design off it. And then they have a few ideas of what to call the game. They're thinking of basically in Pasadena in California, there's this Tournament of Roses parade, or the Rose Parade, that happens New Year's Day every year. That's the day the Rose Bowl happens.
Okay.
So then they end up naming the stadium the Rose Bowl Stadium, and they call the tournament the Rose Bowl. But that's like way earlier than the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Years later, in 1966, there's this sports exec called Lamar Hunt, who was quite a famous sports executive at the time. And he writes to the commissioner, Pete Rozelle, and he says in a little email, he goes, "I've kiddingly called it the Super Bowl," which obviously can be improved upon. And he said that he named it, he said the Super Bowl because his kids were playing with this toy, like a bouncy ball called a Super Ball. And he just said the Super Bowl in like an email or a letter, not an email.
Yeah. It was just one of those things where they were like, come up with an idea, you could change it if you want, and they just go, we'll stick with that.
Yeah.
And then it's lasted, because it's 60 years, it's 60 this year, isn't it?
But yeah, that's how the Super Bowl...
I would have never guessed that. Hello, and welcome to Two Northern Blokes with your hosts Jamie and James.
Yeah, hello.
This week we are previewing Super Bowl 60. We're going to talk through some of our player analysis and go through some of our picks and props. And yeah, let's kick things off. How are you doing, James?
Amazing. We were out last night.
Yeah, it was a bit of a doom.
End of dry Jan, kind of. It's almost the end of Jan. But feeling fresh. I've really, really looked into this Super Bowl in more detail than I think I've ever looked into a Super Bowl before. I mean, I remember when, for a bit of background, when we first got into NFL, the first NFL game I ever watched was the Super Bowl between the Rams and the Pats.
Okay,
We were on a holiday in Budapest.
Yeah.
We were in a bar downstairs, these endless chicken wings.
Yeah.
And it was like the worst game of football ever. Do you remember the score in that game?
Yeah, was it 13-3?
13-3.
Yeah, that was a bad Super Bowl.
It was absolutely dreadful. I think Edelman was MVP in that
game.
So that was my introduction to NFL way back then. And since then, I'm so obsessed with this Super Bowl coming up.
Well, I wasn't that much, and then when we've researched into it, I'm like, it's got me quite fired up for it. Yeah. I think it's going to be a good one.
Absolutely.
And we got through lots of stuff that I'm sure we'll talk through and kind of paint a picture for how it could go.
Yeah, and the way we've done it as well is I've looked a lot more into the Seahawks side of things.
Yes.
And you've looked more into the Pats side of things. I know you've probably looked into both, but I have literally just looked into Seahawks.
Yeah.
So everything you tell me about the Pats is going to be like fun, interesting news for me. I'm looking forward to it.
And just a bit of a caveat, as this is kind of our first year making content, making videos, but we've got some things right so far in our previous predictions. So some things I just wanted to touch on. We talked about the Rams special teams, letting them down.
They really did let them down.
Can you remember last week they had that punt?
Xavier?
The punt return, Xavier Smith?
Yeah.
Our mate Ben, who's a Rams fan, said he never wants to hear that guy's name again because he just wants him cut from the team, but he messed up the punt return. Last week in the conference round, you tipped Ramondre Stevenson to have a big game, and he went off 25 carries, 71 yards.
Yeah, he got the most rushing yards in the game.
Yeah.
And I tipped Marvin Mims to have a big game.
Marvin Mims had 4 receptions, 62 yards.
Yeah, and he got the most receiving yards that game.
There we go. And also Colby Parkinson, who We had a big game. 3 receptions for 62 yards in the Rams game.
Oh yeah, him as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
He was my little sleeper.
We've done alright so far.
Fact it's alright. Yeah.
So maybe...
Obviously we caveat it. We also did tip the 49ers to put up a game.
No one needs to know that. No one needs to know that.
Yeah. No, but it's going really good, and I think you realise when you really look into games and you really take a more like a granular interest in them, you do learn a lot more, and you can envision the game a bit more. Because sometimes you just put on Redzone and it's just 20 games at once.
Yeah.
You don't know what's happening. Everything's a surprise.
Yeah.
Like someone scores a touchdown, you go, why did they score a touchdown? But if you actually read into the games and think about it and think about the way they're playing, it becomes a lot clearer.
Watching the Red Zone is a bit like the brain rot way of consuming the NFL, really. There's just so much going on at once. There's such a massive information being thrown at you all the time.
Yeah.
And we've probably got a problem in the fact that we can follow it quite easily, when I don't think you should be able to follow Red Zone that easily. Like, to the casual fan, they've just got no clue what's going on because just everything popping up.
It's just sensory overload. It's amazing though.
But
I do recommend it for British viewers.
Yeah.
It's on at a very reasonable time. It's 6 PM till 11 PM on a Sunday.
Yeah.
So if you do want to get into it, but on the other side, it's pretty hard to understand.
This is more of a pure form. Just watching
Yeah.
a single game of Super Bowl is such a pure form that you can really get your teeth dug into.
Nothing but adverts, Bad Bunny,
yeah.
everything.
I didn't look at any Bad Bunny props.
No, I didn't either.
I don't think we're qualified to recommend Bad Bunny first song or last song.
Could you name a Bad Bunny song?
No. But it should be good. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Right, should we kick things off?
Yeah.
So, I've got a bit of a general view. Should we kick off with the spread of this game? So, Seattle Seahawks versus New England Patriots. The spread is currently plus 4.5 to the Pats or minus 4.5 to the Seahawks. The over-under is 45.5 as of the latest time. Did you have much research into the spreads?
All I really looked into was that the Seahawks opened at 3.5.
Oh, really?
So they opened at 3.5 and they've been bet down to 4.5.
Interesting.
I think that makes total sense there. Like, because it's like what I was saying before about Super Bowl odds. It should almost always just open at 3.
Yeah.
It should always be about 3 to 4.
It should.
And then it will be bet one way or the other.
Did you know one thing I found on this? So 4.5 is the joint biggest spread since 2010.
Really?
So there's been 3 other games which has had a spread of 4.5.
Ooh, was one? Have you got them there?
I've got them there. Yeah.
Was one the Chiefs Bucks?
No,
really?
No, that wasn't. I don't know if that was because Tom Brady.
Yeah. Got that Tom Brady effect on the spread.
Yeah. No, there's one that we did watch was the Rams Bengals 2022.
Yeah.
Where the Rams won. That was plus 4.5. Because was that Joe Burrow's first year?
No, second year. Remember, he got injured his first year.
Injured, yeah. So his first full year playing.
Well, they got his sophomore year.
Yeah. So that kind of makes sense. But interesting enough, in all of the 3 previous times since 2010 where it's been a spread of 4.5, they've all covered, and in 2 of them they've won. So the other 2 games was the Broncos versus the Panthers in 2016. Do you remember that was when we talked about where Von Miller?
Cam Newton versus
Cam Newton.
Peyton Manning.
So Panthers were a 4.5 spread and they lost by like 14 points in that one. And the other one was the Ravens versus the 49ers in 2013. And yeah, both of those last 2, the dog won money line. So interesting way of
was the Ravens one with that quarterback? Was it Joe Flacco?
I think it was Flacco. Yeah.
Flacco.
yeah.
But that kind of makes sense. Like a massive underdog quarterback.
Yeah.
A big standout game. Have you looked at the money line at all? I know it's just a spread, but I think Seahawks are minus 230.
Okay.
Which makes them sound a bigger favourite than they actually are. They're 1.43 for the European viewers.
Yeah.
There's pretty high implied probability that they're going to win. So this is the... Do you know when the Seahawks last made the Super Bowl?
Is it the repeat of this game?
It is a repeat of this game.
Was it Super Bowl 49?
Yeah,
I did have that in my notes as well.
It was 2015, so they made back-to-back Super Bowls.
Yeah.
They made 2014 and 2015 versus the Broncos, and then in 2015 versus the Pats. They beat the Broncos, but they lost to the Pats.
Yeah. Famous play, right? Where
It's Marshawn Lynch.
The Seahawks have the ball on the 1 yard line, and second down and one on the 1 yard line, and then they throw a passing play and it gets picked.
What's really good
when they're down by 4.
Have you ever seen the referee's reaction to it?
Oh, the referee's shocked.
Referees go, why they've got Marshawn? They've got Marshawn. Why did they they got Marshawn?
Yeah.
They like Marshawn Lynch was beast mode, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And they had him, and then they threw it and it's an interception. It's just absolutely bizarre.
I always remember Richard Sherman's reaction, on the side. He's like looking up and he's like, and he had that play where, because he does punditry now.
Yeah.
Do you remember? And there was a couple of years ago when he was punditry, and then he was commentating on a play, and he was like, why didn't they just run the ball? Why didn't they just run the ball? And everyone was like, he's gotten PTSD from that moment of being like, why the hell didn't we just run the damn ball?
just coming over him.
So yeah, it's very interesting that it is a repeat of that.
No, it's exciting as well.
Seattle Seahawks revenge game for that, basically.
Yeah,
right?
massively.
Yeah.
Massively. This is my little fun fact that I got for this. Do you know, and this has quite a few levels to it, do you know why it's called the Super Bowl?
No. Go on.
Hazard a guess.
Why it's called Super Bowl?
Specifically that name, the Super Bowl. I mean, there's other things like the Rose Bowl and...
I was going to say, I don't know why they all have the bowls. Is that because of the stadium? Is it stadium?
Well, yeah, so... There's quite a bit to it. So it goes back to about 1902. So the college football game, the big college football game was called the Tournament East-West Football Game.
Okay.
And there was this quite famous stadium, and it was always called that. It was a Tournament East-West Football Game.
Okay.
And then there was this large stadium in Connecticut that opened called the Yale Bowl Stadium.
Oh, okay.
And that was the first large, bowl-shaped oval stadium in the United States. But that's the name of the stadium, not the competition. Now, you fast forward to 1922, the East-West Football Game gets, they build a new stadium called the Rose Bowl Stadium.
Yeah.
And that's where they end up, and they base the Rose Bowl Stadium off the Yale Bowl Stadium.
Okay.
So they base the design off it. And then they have a few ideas of what to call the game. They're thinking of basically in Pasadena in California, there's this Tournament of Roses parade, or the Rose Parade, that happens New Year's Day every year. That's the day the Rose Bowl happens.
Okay.
So then they end up naming the stadium the Rose Bowl Stadium, and they call the tournament the Rose Bowl. But that's way earlier than the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Years later, in 1966, there's this sports exec called Lamar Hunt, who was quite a famous sports executive at the time, and he writes to the commissioner, Pete Rozelle, and he says in a little email, he goes, I've kiddingly called it the Super Bowl, which obviously can be improved upon. And he said that he named it, he said the Super Bowl because his kids were playing with this toy, like a bouncy ball called a Super Ball. And he just said the Super Bowl in an email or a letter, not an email.
Yeah. It was just one of those things where they were like, come up with an idea, you could change it if you want, and they just go, we'll stick with that.
Yeah.
And then it's lasted, because it's 60 years, it's 60 this year, isn't it?
But yeah, that's how the Super Bowl...
I would have never guessed that.
No, it is essentially because the stadiums are shaped like bowls.
Yeah, because that is very true when you say that. It's very much the sport of American football, like the colleges as well, they've got those stadiums which don't have a roof. Yeah. Which English sports, the stadium looks completely different. It's always got 4 roofs, but it's that bowl. Yeah, it's almost like a bit of like a Colosseum type.
Yeah, because you can shove way more people in, can't you? For college games.
And I guess weather and stuff is different as well. Like in England, because the football soccer season is throughout the winter. Yeah. If you had roof open things, you'd just be freezing.
It'd be raining sideways at Old Trafford, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Soaking wet.
Yeah. That's very cool.
Yeah, interesting. Because I was thinking about it, because I thought there's other American sports finals called cups.
Yeah, like Stanley Cup.
Stanley Cup and so on. I was like, why on earth do they call it the Super Bowl? What a weird name.
Yeah.
Call it something else, but I was like, it totally makes sense. Looking back.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's your trivia for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Tell me about the patch, Jim.
Yeah, well, I've got a bit of a dig here, which I did, this is more about both teams in general. So, and I think this is what the game is going to come down to. So, essentially, both these teams have got elite defenses, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure you'll have you'll have researched that, and this is kind of how they've both got there as well, is like in their elite defences. But the main thing I found is that these teams have ranked first and second in the league for allowing oppositions on explosive plays.
Ooh.
So the Pats defence has only allowed an explosive play on 9.6% of all their plays, and the Hawks defence has only allowed an explosive play on 10%, and that's first and second in the league. Now, an explosive play in this research, there was a bit of like, because what would you guess an explosive play counts?
I would
it's
imagine
like a stat that gets thrown
10
around.
plus yards. Or
Yeah,
15 plus yards?
Well, so it's different for run and pass. So apparently for the evidence where we got these stats from was a 12-yard run play or a 16-yard pass play. And I think that's really what it's going to come down to, is how both of these defences perform in allowing them. Because as well, you've got like the Seahawks in the playoffs have just ran through Kenneth Walker as being elite in rushing, and I'm sure you'll get to that, and you'll have loads of stats for that. And then like the Patriots have just made plays through, like Drake May will pop off a few big plays, because like the Pats really spread the ball around in terms of passing.
Yeah.
But I think it's really going to come down to that. But then even to go even further, the New England defense has only allowed 4.8% explosive plays in the playoffs. But it was because they had that Broncos snow game.
Yeah.
That kind of limited that, really. There was no big plays in that. Whereas the Seahawks have had... Interesting enough, the Seahawks have gone the other way. So in the playoffs, the Seahawks have had 16.1%. Because last week against the Rams, they allowed their season high in explosive plays. They had 15 explosive plays that they gave up to the Rams.
It is against the Rams, isn't it? It's pretty hard.
It is,
it's pretty impossible not to allow them.
Interesting to have that, like, just in the run-up to the Super Bowl. Yeah, it's an elite offence, definitely. But I think that's going to be what it's going to come down to. It's going to be a very, like, closely fought game, a battle, and then it's going to be who can break off a few of those big plays. And both teams have got plenty of players who can do both.
I guess it comes down to a lot about the O-line at that point as well.
Yeah.
Because if they're trying to get those explosive plays, the O-line needs to be like really switched on, really on it,
the
gaps.
Yeah. But here was a bit of a backing up of those players who made the plays. So JSN ranks number 1 out of all wide receivers who've ran 100 routes this year, so like a decent sample size. In per route run, he has 9.1% explosive plays, which is crazy per route run. And he leads wide receivers
in the league. Is that per reception?
No, per route run. So it means if he's not even getting targeted, as long as he's running a route like some kind of wide receiver play, then 9.1%. And he led wide receivers in the league throughout this year. And then Kenneth Walker, his explosive play run rate was second in the league of all players per carry, and that is with any player with 150 carries. So they've really got the explosive players.
Yeah, Kenneth Walker managed to... He broke the 1,000-yard mark this season, which I thought was quite impressive for a player that didn't really
split carries.
Didn't really feel like he featured loads.
Yeah.
Season.
And then on the New England side of this as well with the explosive plays. So Ramondre Stevenson, Travion Henderson, and Drake May have all had 19 explosive runs this season. Which is really what the Seahawks are going to have to contain. I think those 3 rushers are where there's a chance for New England to win the game.
Just on the point of Travion Henderson, there is a good bet you can put on Travion Henderson on the Super Bowl that some sportsbooks offer.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen it, but you can bet him to get most rushing yards of the Super Bowl at about 50-1.
Yeah, well...
Which is crazy.
You're getting on to one of my other research points.
Nice.
So one of my kind of tips for props and picks is, I had a look recently, it's down to 20-1.
Yeah.
But, so most rushing yards in this game, Travion Henderson 20-1, and I've also tipped, so you can bet, do you know like longest rush?
Yes.
So each individual player you can bet, can they get a rush of this many yards? And for Travion Henderson to record a rush of 30 plus yards is 17-1.
Really?
And that's what I quite like.
Wow.
Because Travion Henderson is...
God, the dollar signs are just...
The thing is, like, and he did this at Ohio State as a college player, but he's just got that breakaway speed where if he's one gap in an O-line and the defensive line on the Seahawks, he's gone. That's the thing, right? So, I really like Travion Henderson... longest rush of 30 plus yards at 17-1 because he just has that home run and hitting ability.
Do you know what his actual line is? Longest longest rush? I imagine it's like 8. Right?
I looked and it was low because he only got like 3 carries last week.
Yeah, they've just not been giving him the ball. That doesn't mean they won't.
But he can have 1 carry and get a 30-yard rush. That's the thing. It's different to like another running back who's like more of a bruiser back, you know, which is what Ramondre Stevenson is. He's like through the middle, whereas Trevion Henderson, if he gets 1 breakaway around the outside, he's gone. You
know what's crazy about this whole like Ramondre Stevenson, Trevion Henderson stuff? Do you remember early in the season when Ramondre Stevenson was talking about leaving the Pats because he wasn't being given the ball? So he was doing interviews. It might not have been as far as leaving, but he was basically saying, I don't know where my place is in the team if I'm not being given the ball, if they're going to give it to Trevion or give it to other people.
Yeah.
And he was always fumbling it.
Yeah, he had a bad fumble record,
And it's just completely turned around for him.
Yeah. Like, well, we'll get onto that. I've got a list of stats for him, don't worry. But, it has absolutely turned around for him,
It's wild.
Go on then, did you want to talk about the Seahawks?
So, I've kind of gone a strange angle on the Seahawks because I think when you research into something and as things appear, you realise that things are not always as they seem. So, Seahawks have finished the season 14-3, and they only had 3. Well, they clearly had 3 losses. Do you know who the 3 losses were to in the regular season? Do you remember?
Did they lose to the Rams one time?
Yeah, they lost to the Rams, they lost to the Buccaneers, they lost to the 49ers.
Okay.
And what's really cool about that, they avenged 2 of the losses in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah, so you lose 3 games and you avenge 2 in the playoffs, which is pretty awesome. I was looking through, there were 7 of the games of the 14 wins that were 1-score wins.
Okay.
They weren't necessarily 1-score games, but where they won by 8 or less. So a score on their side would have drawn it. So half the games 1-score wins, which, you know, half the wins are 1-score wins, which, when you think about the Seahawks, you remember them like blowing teams out completely.
Yeah. But I guess that makes sense because you can remember them blowing. You more remember the games where they have blown someone out. Like I would have to look into what the average of a team is, but half your games as 1-score wins doesn't seem too bad a ratio.
No, and then where it gets really strange with the Seahawks regular season, they don't rank in the top 5 of any of the main offensive stats. So passing yards per game, rushing yards per game, and total yards per game, they don't make the top 5 for the regular season.
Interesting.
They're always between like 8th to 12th-ish.
Yeah.
So for the whole regular season, they don't hit the top 5 on anything. And then on the defense, they also don't make the top 5 on anything.
That's interesting. So most of the defense would be really
so
good.
We kind of get to this. So on turnovers, sacks, or yards allowed, they don't make the top 5 in the regular season on any of those things. What they do make the top five in, though, they are 3rd in the league on points per game, 28.4 points per game.
Okay.
And I've kind of tried to work out why this is the case. So I thought, I'll compare the regular season stats with the postseason stats. Because I was like, surely they rank in the top 5 in the postseason on these stats.
Yeah.
Per game. It's like
there's not that many teams in the postseason either, so
they still don't even hit the top 5.
Interesting. I've got a theory on this.
Per game. Well, no. It kind of gets to it. So, passing yards, rushing yards, yards per game, sacks, yards allowed, they're still not in the top 5, except one stat that they absolutely smashed postseason. There's one stat, and it's their turnover differential.
Okay.
So they have given 0 interceptions and 0 fumbles in the postseason.
Wow.
But they've got 1 interception and 3 fumbles. So they've got a +4 turnover differential.
That's pretty good.
So they just don't make mistakes in that way. So they're always going forward, and they're just not turning the ball over this postseason. They're not throwing interceptions. They're not fumbling it, and that's where their game is kind of coming from their lack of mistakes. So I kind of compared it to, when you play poker, and I think Phil Galfond has a really interesting thing on this, but your edge in poker is not in your ability to do exciting, interesting things. It's in the fact your opponents will make mistakes and you won't.
Yeah.
And that's where the Seahawks come into it. They just don't make the mistakes that other teams make.
Yeah.
They've got this +4 turnover differential, which is just ridiculous. It's higher than anyone in the postseason. Yeah. And in the postseason of Wales, they're top on points per game, 36 points per game.
Yeah. So it's just about being highly efficient.
Basically. Highly efficient.
Yeah.
And then you kind of get onto their special teams, Now, I don't fully understand special team stats that well, but there's certain things they just nail on. So I've got it here that they, on kickoff returns, they're ranked 3rd in the regular season, and in the postseason, number 1.
What's that ranked in? What though?
Average yards of kickoff.
Oh right, okay, average. Yeah.
Of kickoff returns.
Yeah.
So they're ranked 3rd in the regular season and number 1. And then I kind of went a bit more into like little special team stuff, and field goals, 30 to 39 yards in the regular season, number 1. Well, they're 14 for 15, and then 40 to 49 yards, number 3. They're 13 for 15.
Nice.
Is it
Myers? Is it Myers?
Jake Myers? Jason Myers?
Jason Myers?
Let me have a look. But that kind of goes back to the main point. Don't worry about the long kicks. If you can just hammer the 30 to 39, 40 to 49, that's where all the kicks are.
Yeah.
And they're hammering the basics. They just get the basics really right. It's Jason Myers.
Myers, yeah.
But yeah, they just... when I think of the Seahawks, I think of like JSN having these huge games, Sam Darnold passing for loads of yards. But like when you really get into it, they're really just doing the basics really, really well. And other teams are messing up against them.
I'll tell you one stat for the special teams. So do you know Rashid Shaheed has had 3 kickoff returns for a touchdown this year? Do you know what that ranks in the NFL this year?
1.
Number 1.
Surely 1.
He's had 3, most in the league. No one else has had more than 2. So
that's crazy.
Which he was a mid-season signing as well. He's been great for them, really.
Just side point, in fantasy, do you get a touchdown for that?
I think you would, yeah.
So you don't get the yards?
No, you don't get the yards. So you get 6 points. So yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. Betting on anyone, betting just on a kickoff return for a touchdown is just so rare anyway.
Well, you get to some of my Super Bowl picks. Do you want to know the odds? Should we do it now?
What, for a kickoff return?
So I've got some props here which I think I'm going to sprinkle into my Super Bowl bet. So any point in the game for there to be a kickoff return is 14 to 1.
I hate it, but go on.
The opening kickoff to be returned 66 to 1.
I was going to guess. I was going to say 50 to 1.
Yeah.
I kind of don't mind that as much
because Rashid Shaheed had the one against the 49ers in the playoffs. Do you remember?
Yeah.
In the conference round, first play of the game, kickoff return. So, but that's also one. There would just be it would just be electric for watching. You know, when we're all watching together. The opening return.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to sprinkle some of that in. But go on. Did you have anything else on the Seahawks that you want to talk about?
Kind of a bit on how I think the Super Bowl will go with the Seahawks.
Okay.
I mean,
because I've got thoughts on how it'll go for the Pats.
I'm pretty sure the Seahawks will win.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And it might just be because I've researched them more. I just think the Pats will mess up in one way or another, and the Seahawks will just kind of grind through. They'll have Kenneth Walker just chundling along, and JSN just going for these massive plays. That's how I envision it.
It's good that you say that because it links to my points very well.
Just Kenneth Walker just pushing, and just occasionally JSN.
It links to what I was saying about the explosive plays, like how they've both been elite this year in breaking away plays.
But the player who I think could have a fun game, and I think this is one. If whatever, I haven't checked exactly his odds, but I'm imagining they'll be pretty reasonable. But Cooper Kupp, I think, will have quite a fun game because the whole regular season, he got about 593 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, he didn't have a great regular season.
Well, he's getting a bit past it, isn't he?
Oh yeah, and he had that big injury like last year, and I don't think he's quite been the same since.
Yeah, but the postseason, in 2 games, he's put 96 yards and 1 touchdown, which isn't amazing, but like he's been in a Super Bowl before, and I'm very big on people that have been there before.
Yeah.
I think it is just easier for them.
Absolutely.
I mean, JSN has never been there. Darnold has definitely never been there.
Yeah.
But Cooper Kupp, I think he'll be good in the locker room. He'll be good at hyping the players up. He's already got a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah.
And I could see him getting a touchdown, definitely. They targeted him against the Rams.
He's got a Super Bowl MVP as well.
He's got a Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah.
They targeted him in the end zone against the Rams. I don't know if that was just because they were playing the Rams.
Yeah.
He asked.
Rubbing salt into the wounds. No, but I think it's just on his merit. At this point, they don't do anything for like any personal bias.
Yeah.
So they just use him as a weapon.
Yeah.
Which he has been in the playoffs. You're all right.
So Cooper Cup, I think, should have a better game than people are expecting. I'd take his over on yards and sprinkle on a touchdown. And then the other one who's done absolutely nothing this postseason, who I think I just have a feeling he'll have a game, is AJ Barner.
Okay.
He had a really, really solid regular season. He averaged 10 yards per reception. He got 519 yards. He went 52 for 68 on receptions. 10 yards per reception, pretty solid, pretty good.
Yeah.
I think it's expected with tight ends, each reception should definitely be slightly, well, your standard tight end reception is like a screen, and it usually is 10 yards.
Yeah.
Usually, when you throw into your tight end, you're trying to do it almost always. It feels like a 10-yard play.
If
you're on the 10-yard line, you're throwing to your tight end in the end zone. If you're on the 20, you're imagining them getting down to near the wall. I can see AJ Barner doing something. He's done nothing this postseason at all.
He hasn't.
But I just think they're going to mix up the targets a bit in the Super Bowl. I think they're kind of funky.
It's more, if anything's going wrong as well, then I think they're more like to mix it up and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, so far for the Seahawks, nothing has really gone wrong.
No.
They had a big game against the Rams. It was a high-scoring affair, but in the Super Bowl is where you do kind of pull out all the stops and you might have a trick play. One good prop for that to look up for should be AJ Barner's longest reception at over 10 yards. Because that's quite a fun line. If you said it as just 10, like another one I'll get on to talk about, like QBs often, if you do like their longest rush to be above 10, it's like, are they going to scramble for a first down from the 10? Like, it's quite an easy thing to follow in the game.
I was thinking Kyler Murray with his little legs just...
yeah, cool.
Yeah. That's kind of a rundown of kind of the Seahawks and how they're looking.
Well, you've set me up so well for this. Considering we didn't go for each other's scripts, but I wanted you to focus in on JSN and Kenneth Walker, because I have got two defensive players for the New England Pats who literally I've got them each are just going to sort out the weapons on the Seahawks.
Who's their cornerback?
So I want to talk about Robert Spillane, who's the linebacker for the Pats, and Christian Gonzalez, who is the cornerback for the Pats, who's been unreal. So Robert Spillane is just, whenever he's in the team, the Pats' run D is so much better. And for the start of this season, I think it was up until like week 14, the Pats didn't allow a single running back to have more than 50 yards, and it was when he was playing in the game. He got injured, and then when he was injured, when they played the Jets, Breece Hall had over 50 yards. But keeping all opposing running backs down to less than 50 yards is mental. Is mental for a defense. And it was only when Robert Spillane was on the pitch, and he's graded since 2023 being in the league. I think he only signed for the Pats. He signed in free agency last year. I think he was on the Raiders before, but since 2023 he is graded, I think this was by PFF, as 91.2 run defense grade, which is the third amongst all linebackers in the league since 2023. So pretty impressive. And one thing I want to tip with him is he is 5-1 to have the most tackles and assists in the game in the Super Bowl, which is he's the second favourites. But the market for that was a bit crazy, because I think it's quite hard to predict tackles and assists solely in a game. You know, it's not the same as like most rushing yards. There's only one person who does it, because everyone on the defense tackles. Like quarterbacks will have that in some games.
How many? What do you reckon the line is of actual tackles? Like how many are we expecting a game? Someone like him.
I reckon he's like 4.5.
Yeah, I was going to say 3 or 4.
Yeah.
3 or 4.
It varies different positions, and like as well, you know, because he's a linebacker, he can get interceptions. I think I looked at stats. He did have 2 interceptions this year.
Yeah, that's why I don't fully know NFL super well, because linebackers kind of do everything, don't they?
Yeah.
They're kind of an all over the place, super athletic, enormous guy.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think his primary job is just tackling. He's there in the second line of defence, past the defensive line. He's there to actually tackle the players, because the defensive line are just matching up against the O line, so they're not really looking at the running backs.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The running backs go in the gaps between where the tacklers are meeting.
Yeah.
But the linebackers are the ones who sweep up and make the tackles when they get away. So that's his key task. So I think he's been playing elite this season. I think he can stop Kenneth Walker. Now, Christian Gonzalez, who
I've heard a lot about
cornerback. Have you heard of him? Yeah. So he's like one of the most
absolutely going off
elite cornerbacks in the league. But so he is what you want to listen to this, James, because this is really interesting. So he plays shadow corner. Have you heard of that term?
No.
So basically, cornerback is like one of the toughest positions in the NFL.
Yeah.
And it's also, even though it's one of the toughest, it's not valued that highly. Like
they say it's the toughest position in sport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's just because you can get burned on one play and then you've had a bad game.
Yeah.
But Christian Gonzalez, as you'll see, he never gets burned. So, right, the shadow corner bit. So what the shadow corner means is like, so some cornerbacks will play just on one side. So Sauce Gardner, who's a really good cornerback, I think he only plays on one side of the pitch.
Okay.
So it's a bit like, a right back in soccer would only play on the right-hand side.
A right winger. Yeah,
but the point of a shadow corner is, if they're so good, they will just put them on the opposing team's strongest receiver all game.
Really?
So he just will mark.
He's just going to be on JSN.
He's just going to man mark JSN.
That sounds like hell.
The whole game. Yeah.
That sounds like absolute hell.
What he does, he doesn't defend like other cornerbacks do. So one of the reasons why they get beat a lot is, so in defense they'll have zone coverage and man coverage. Is the two types of play. So zone, your cornerbacks will just drop and they'll cover a certain area, and other players are covering a certain area, so it should all be covered. Man is where they literally go man for man with everyone. What most commonly played in the NFL is a bit of both. So they'll play like mostly zone coverage, but a few people will man up. So like you'll man up the number one wide receiver for the team. But Christian Gonzalez, when he doesn't watch the QB, he just watches the player. So he just goes step for step, but he's literally so quick and he's so agile and he's so strong that they can never get out of him. So in this season, including the playoffs, he's seen 62 targets when they're in zone coverage, and he hasn't given up a single TD.
What?
Listen to this one as well. In the playoffs, opposing QBs would have had a higher passer rating if they spiked the ball than if they throw to who Christian Gonzalez is marking. So if you spike the ball every play, your QB passer rating is 39.6, and in the playoffs, the opposing QBs have had a 39.0 passer rating against him. Because, do you remember he was the one who got the interception last week in the Broncos? Yeah. Do you remember the end? It was like the game sealing interception where, he made a play on the ball, came down with it, and then the Pats just run out the clock. But he is the only thing where I think he could if he covers up JSN, that's a big strangling the offense of the Seahawks.
JSN is so good.
Well, this is the thing. We're going to see.
Because that's a really fun matchup. That's a fun, exciting matchup.
It's really fun, exciting matchup. Yeah. So one of my tips, I'm tipping JSN under. His current line is 93.5 yards, but I think because of Christian Gonzalez, I'd tip the under.
Crazy.
The only thing with JSN, right, is like, there's this thing about I do think he's good, and it could be because his route run is so clean and he beats his route so much. But so much for this season, did you not think it was just JSN? He was just he was wide open. And it's like, was it just poor defences? Like, so there were so many times when he scored these touchdowns, and you're like, how is he so open? He's not even like, because he's not like a contested catch type receiver. Like a T. Higgins. Yeah. T. Higgins is massive, this big frame, and he goes up and he wins those 50-50 balls with the cornerback. JSN is more of a route runner. It could just be his route running so elite that he loses his marker.
That's the thing. It's like when I remember once chatting to someone about Messi. Years ago, and they were like, God, it's always a tapping, and it always just like, sometimes Messi is just like, he's right there, he's just it looks so easy. Or like maybe Van Persie when he was in the Prem, and people call them like tapping merchants, or even like Haaland now. Like sometimes when they score, it just looks so simple. But it's because of everything they've done.
It's because they're so elite.
It's because they're so good. And I think JSN. We'll see. That's a fun.
We're going to see. We'll see. I think that is the battle where I'm excited for, because Christian Gonzalez is unreal. Yeah. Also, similar on the. I was saying about how he goes step for step and like he plays the position completely differently to other quarterback. It's similar in like soccer. I always remember Ashley Cole talked about, because he could always contain Cristiano Ronaldo when they played in the Prem together. Ashley Cole was one of the best left backs in the Prem. But what he did the same kind of thing where he used to say, you wouldn't look at, when he was defending, you don't look at his eyes, because he can like deceive you with his eyes where he's going. He would always look at his waist. Because basically you can't disguise that bit. Like where your waist is going is where your body's going to go. So Ashley Cole would do the same thing where you just wouldn't focus on always feet as well in football. Obviously your feet you can disguise, and Cristiano Ronaldo did all the step overs, but Ashley Cole would just lock in on his waist and then he would just mark him from that. So I think that's really interesting. I'm
just thinking about analogies of defence. Kobe talked about a very similar thing when players would fake a shot at him, and he said the way a player fakes a shot is so different to how they actually take a shot. And you know when they do a pump fake and they go whoop, like they're going to shoot, he was just locked in on that. He knew when they were going to fake, and he knew when they were actually taking the shot, and you just guard it totally differently. And like loads of people would fall for it, like people flinch and people fake a shit, but like
mere mortals would fall for it. But these elite, this is what you're saying, these elite level athletes are just on a different level where they're
ridiculous.
They're playing checkers, we're all here playing chess, or vice versa, or whatever.
They're playing like really advanced stuff. We're playing noughts and crosses.
Yeah. That's absolutely it.
That's the real breadth of difference. It's crazy though.
I've got a couple of bits on the Pats offence to talk about as well.
Definitely, because I've not really touched on much about Pats offence. I mean, I rate them relatively highly, I would say, but not super high. I wouldn't say.
They had a disappointing game last week, right? Against the Broncos, but I think the thing is the Pats are so well coached that they just play the game that's in front of them. Like the Broncos, they didn't try and score those points because they didn't need to. They knew they could stop them on the defense. I think this game they'll need to score a few more points, and we'll have to cook up a few more ideas. But I think the main thing, it's going to come from the run game. So Trevion Henderson, who we've talked on a bit, he's potential for a big play, and then I think Drake May with his legs and Ramondre Stevenson. Ramondre Stevenson a bit with legs and catching, but Drake May has been absolutely unreal in this playoff run with his legs. So he's only ran for 9 times over the 3 games of the playoffs, but he's gone for 125 yards, which is 13.9 per carry, which is crazy.
That's really?
It's crazy when you consider QB Neals will be included in those stats.
And he'll lose yards on that.
I mean, they've not kneeled much, evidently, but that is crazy. Did you know he's the 3rd all-time... This is in the next-gen stats era, so since they've been doing stats. But he's the 3rd all-time QB rushing yards in the playoffs. And... with 125 yards so far. So if he rushes for 18 yards, he'll have had the most of any QB in the playoffs.
In one individual playoff run?
In one individual year.
Right.
So do you know who?
I thought you meant all time.
No. Sorry, in 1 year.
That'd be crazy.
In 1 year, yeah. He's 125 yards per 1 year. Do you know who has the highest and the second highest? It's the same QB.
I imagine Cam.
It's guessable. No, I think more recent. You don't think of him as a rusher, but he does. No, because you've got to think of teams who've gone really far in the playoffs, like who've made Super Bowls.
Okay, let's think about it. So
this QB has won both of these previous years when he's had more rushing yards. It's Mahomes.
Yeah.
In 2019 and 2023.
I think Mahomes is good on his legs.
Yeah. So in 2019 he had 143 rushing yards in the playoffs. In 2023 he had 128 rushing yards in the playoffs. And do you know what happened in both of those years? He won a Super Bowl. Spells good for Drake May. But so he's averaging 47 yards per game. His line in this is 37.5 currently. I'm definitely going to be taking
37.5?
Yeah,
that's
that feels like...
that.
Yeah, as I'm sure you will as well. But the whole caveat of all this is the Seahawks defence, right? They've been elite and efficient this year. However, so the Seahawks defence ranks first by NFL pros in overall defensive rushing efficiency, but they rank 14th in the league on QB scrambles. So they've had in the 49ers game, Brock Purdy, they let rush for 37 yards, which was his second highest of all season. And last week, Matt Stafford managed to rush for 16 yards, which was his most rushing yards of the season against the Seahawks.
Probably his most rushing yards of his career.
Yeah. Against,
Old man Matt.
Against the Seahawks defense. So, yeah, I think that Drake May 37.5 is a crazy line. Definitely going to be better than that.
Oh yeah.
And then the other guy on the offence who I think could get the win for the Pats is Ramondre Stevenson. Bit more on what you talked about last week. I'm just kind of updating his stats, but since week 16 of the regular season, he's averaged 102 yards per game.
Has he? Is that scrimmage yards?
Scrimmage yards, so 6.8 yards per touch. He's had 6 TDs in those 6 games. Last week he had the one, they had the direct snap to him on the 2 yard line.
That let me down for a 50-1 parlay.
Oh, James.
I know.
Brother, that's
I needed a Ramondre Stevenson touchdown, but they gave him a direct snap, and they completely messed it up as well.
Yeah.
Did you see the snap?
Yeah.
It looked like it was going to May, and then it literally was going to May, and then Ramondre jumps in front and kind of grabs it, and it was just a mess. Well, they might perfect that this time. But
yeah, and then it's interesting because since that time, Ramondre Stevenson is second in the league in. I think this is since the playoffs actually. He's second in the playoffs for yards after contact, and then Kenneth Walker is third in yards after contact. So they've both been elite rushing. But yeah, given he's averaging 102 yards per game, his line is 50.5. I'm probably going to be taking that for Ramondre rushing over.
But he's not averaging 102 rushing yards.
No, that is from scrimmage.
But yeah,
I thought
50 yards sounds about right. I think he got 71 last game.
Yeah.
Yeah, 50 sounds.
And that was against a staunch Denver defense as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm liking those lines.
If you can bet Ramondre rushing and receiving, I think that's the better.
Yeah.
That's the better bet. But
Which you can do that.
Not all books offer that.
No.
Yeah.
I've got one more bit on the. We've already touched upon, but on the returns aspect of special teams.
Let's get into the special teams world.
So, did you know in the Super Bowl era there has been 10 kickoff returns for a touchdown?
Is the Super Bowl era since what I said, 1960 odd?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Only 10?
Do you know how many punt returns there's been in all Super Bowls? Punt returns, yeah.
For a touchdown?
For a touchdown.
Yeah. My initial thought is a lot lower.
I
was going to say like 3.
It's 0.
0!
There's never been a punt return for a kickoff, which makes my recommendation, which I'm going to recommend, of a 16-1 bet on this being a punt return for a TD. But yeah, so the odds are 16-1 in this Super Bowl. But I do quite like it because
16-1 for an event that has never happened in history to happen.
Listen, but Marcus Jones, who played cornerback for the Pats, but he's the returner on kickoffs and punts. He has had 4 punts.
Well, he plays cornerback and he's a returner.
Yeah.
Really?
That's quite common.
Is it?
Yeah, there's a few teams that do that.
I guess the only, because I'm very fantasy head on.
Yeah.
The only returners I recognise are like Marvin Mims and Shaheed and people like that when they put the offence, when they put it's always receivers.
Yeah.
Or who was Tank Bigsby. Yeah,
but no, cornerbacks do.
4th string, whoever.
Cornerbacks do. I'm trying to think. I swear the New York Giants had a cornerback return.
Yeah.
But anyway, Marcus Jones had an unreal season. So he has had 4 punt TDs returned for a touchdown this season, which is tied for the most ever in an NFL season.
That was a lot.
Well, so
do you know how hard it is? That's like 70 yards you got to run.
Yeah.
Through an entire team of
punt
people.
TDs, punt returns, I think, are a bit different because you're normally the defense that you're running into on special teams are normally like a lot closer.
Yeah.
So it's hard to find a gap. With the kickoff returns, you're so far back, you can map a way out through the team on special teams.
You're trying to run through a team of people whose only job is to stop that happening.
Stop one person.
Yeah, it's like, have you seen the interview with Julian Edelman when he was doing punt returning for the Pats? So he's doing punt returning for the Pats in like one of his first games, and he does a good like Tom Brady impression that I can't do.
Yeah.
But like Tom Brady's stressing out, and Edelman's like, yeah, and then Brady comes in and he's telling me how to do a punt return. He's like, you just gotta go, just don't drop the ball, just don't drop it, go. And I'm like, man, I can do a punt return. He's teaching this guy's teaching me how to punt return, like. But yeah,
funny. Yeah, I realised it. I said that it was 16-1 for a punt to be returned in the TD. I guess that is a good line. The other prop I had for this as well is you can bet on Marcus Jones TD,
Ooh.
who's a return, and that's 20-1.
Ah.
So,
well, I'd prefer the 16.
you just go see because it'd be either team, really,
Yeah.
is the thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, Super Bowls, they often come down to like big plays, and special teams really matter in the Super Bowl. And both of these teams are like some of the most game-breaking returning units out there. So I think there could be a big play in here. So
see, the way I've set it up as well with the average yards from kickoff return.
Yeah.
It's almost making me think there's going to be this like kickoff punt return.
Well, this is what we do. We tip winners on this show. So
Tip winners.
yeah, that's kind of it I had for the Super Bowl preview.
I think that's a really good preview. I guess the only thing we probably haven't mentioned is how young Drake May is.
Yeah.
He is 23, which will put him as, I think, the second youngest Super Bowl winner ever.
Really? Wow. The Patriots have just looked their way into another franchise QB, and they're going to be sorted for years.
From what I'm reading here, this is from Stats Muse. Mike Tomczak won the Super Bowl in '86, and he was 23 and 95 days.
Oh wow!
And in the modern era, I say that is the modern era, '86.
Yeah.
But think like since 2000, you know who the youngest winner?
Since 2000, is it Brady?
No. He was 24. He's the sixth youngest all time. I think classic QB, same team, years. Absolutely years. Not the most mobile bloke.
Like a Drew Brees?
Big Ben Roethlisberger.
Oh, was it?
He was 23 and 340 days.
Oh wow.
Old. So Drake May only turned 23 in August. Crazy even thinking about that. So yeah, he'll be the second youngest Super Bowl winner ever. If he wins. If he manages to pull this off.
But yeah, that's crazy.
But honestly, you can wait till next year and he'll end up being the fifth,
the fourth
youngest or whatever.
Yeah.
Impressively, just having a look at this, Mahomes is the fourth youngest ever.
I was thinking Mahomes would be up there.
Yeah, it's just your classics. It's Tom Brady, Wilson. Tom Brady appears a lot of times on it. A really hilarious one that's in here. 18th youngest Super Bowl winning QB.
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett.
Wait, what? Kenny Pickett?
Because he came on for the last quarter in the Eagles game.
Does that count?
He has a ring.
Oh,
he played a snap. He played a snap.
He did play a snap.
He played two snaps, I think.
Yeah, because they were up so much, didn't they?
Yeah,
he came on for a few plays.
Super Bowl winning Kenny Pickett.
That's left a sour taste in that. Yeah, cheers for watching, guys. We've been Two Northern Blokes. All our social medias will be linked in the bottom. We're also on Spotify now, so this will be going live on Spotify playlists. But yeah, let us know in the comments what kind of props you like for the Super Bowl, and if you've got any predictions, we'll definitely have a look at them and respond to all of them. So yeah, cheers for watching, and see you soon,
guys.